Wow. We got the WWF over here. And well, that's Jeff Jarrett. Ah. You know how he spells his name? It's JEFF-JARRETT. Well, that's going to be changed. Yeah. Doubt. It's going to be capital G, double O, double N, double E. God. What is everybody? Daniel Rock Zero here. Back again. And this is 2001 Year in Review. It's WWF Monday Night Raw, the Go Home WrestleMania Raw, the Simulcast Raw, March 26th, 2001 Raw. Now, I don't rate matches and critique a wrestling show because of matches or a rating system of 1 out of 10. Like I did with Nitro, this will be a grading. And I will grade it on how well they build WrestleMania 17. How good did the show flow? Did every single match have its purpose? Did they build up to WrestleMania well? And did every segment feel like it has some sort of importance, some sort of build, and a purpose? Well, just about everything on this show is amazing. This is one of the greatest episodes of Monday Night Raw history. In all 1,200 plus episodes of Raw, I would say this is easily a top 10 episode of Raw. You have many episodes of Raw where they're, quite frankly, forgettable. But this, you have very few episodes of Raw where you can remember the vast majority of it. And you can go back and say, wow, this Raw was amazing. There's very few episodes of Raw where you can remember the majority of it, because I'd say of those 1,200 plus episodes, probably like 1,000 of them are completely forgettable, and you have no idea what the fuck happened. This is one of those few ones where you remember very well in detail. So they start out with Vince McMahon and how, what I just said, how Jeff Jarrett's gone. This episode of Raw is just so nostalgic. It's so great. Kurt Angle comes out. He does his promo. He's pissed off because he doesn't have a match at WrestleMania 17, 6 days away. Here comes Chris Benoit, and he's really mad. Here comes Chris Benoit, and he's really angry. Here comes Chris Benoit, and we can't remember. Here comes Chris Benoit because he killed people. So we have Benoit, we have Angle. They fight. They have then it's announced they will have their match at WrestleMania. Good stuff. Okay, so we have more Vince McMahon segments. You have Eddie Guerrero. He's the special referee. Test and X-Pac. Oh, you're doing with the X Factor. Test. This is a test. Eddie Guerrero screws over Test in his match. That builds up for that match. You have William Regal beating up the Hollies. Beating up Molly Holly. Out comes Doink the Clown. Chris Jericho is Doink the Clown. Puts him in the walls. That builds up for their match. You have your hardcore title stuff going on with Raven and the Big Show. Kane is tossed in the main event. I'll talk about that in a little bit. You have, Edge and Christian, the Hardys, and the Dudley Boys. That gets built up for their tables, ladders, and chairs match at WrestleMania. All these matches, they even managed to get a little bit of gimmick Battle Royale in there. They even managed to build up the Battle Royale because, on this episode, you do see Chris Jericho as Doink the Clown. Kurt Angle mentions the Gobbledygooker. They build up they even build up the right to censor match against APA and Taz, and Ivory builds up her match with Chyna. But the match that gets built up, Undertaker and Triple H, I'll talk about that. The matches that get built up the absolute most, I will talk about now. we have the Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon stuff coming up here. So, like I talked about on the review of Nitro, you have Vince McMahon, he comes out there, and, you can just tell. He says in the Rise and Fall of WCW, he says in the Monday Night Wars DVD, he says, it was just another day at the office. I say that's bullshit. You can tell, just watching him coming down to that ring and saying how he owns WCW, you can tell his ego dick is gigantic and it's ready to explode. His enormous grapefruits are about to explode. You can just see it. It's raining off of his body, for God's sakes. He talks about how WCW will be buried. And he talks about how it is going on the shelf. And it ends up being true, What did they do with the WCW towns? I will talk about that in the invasion angle stuff. You get the whole Shane McMahon. Shane's on Nitro. Surprise, Dad. The contract reads, Shane McMahon, I now own WCW. We're going to whoop your ass. The promise of this great invasion angle is coming to fruition. The promise is so there. It's disappointing in hindsight, sure, but at the time, holy fucking shit. They also say that Mick Foley comes out. He's the special referee for Shane versus Vince. And the magnitude of this match is on another platform. Because now it's not just father versus son. Now it's owner versus owner. The end of the Monday Night Wars. You have Mick Foley in there. This match is overbooked to insanity, but there's so much going on in this match. It's not just father and son. You have the WCW stuff. You have Mick Foley in there. Great stuff. Later on, we get the main event, which is Steve Austin and The Rock versus the Brothers of Destruction. Triple H comes out to interfere with The Undertaker, costing him the match. He busts him open, and that builds up their match, Triple H and The Undertaker. Good stuff. But then we get Steve Austin and The Rock's build-up, their final build-up. And, they have all these promo packages, all these promotional stuff. And, My Way with Limp Bizkit. God damn, it's so nostalgic. They show the sit-down interview that they did on SmackDown. They show that on Raw. The scene where I'm going to give you every drop of blood, every ounce of energy I have. You're going to get the absolute best of The Rock at WrestleMania. I need to beat you, Rock. I need it more than you can ever imagine. There can only be one World Wrestling Federation champion. That will be Rock Stone Cold Steve Austin, with all due respect. Amazing. So they have this match, Steve Austin and The Rock. They get the victory. They say all bets are off. All bets are on until after the match when it's all bets are off. So when the match is done, all said and done, in comes The Rock. I need to mention before I say this that Deborah was actually a part of this storyline. She was The Rock's manager. It's completely forgotten about, and thank God that they completely nixed the idea, because Deborah was actually supposed to be ringside with The Rock, and she was actually supposed to be involved more so in this stuff, but she was so terrible. I just have to get out of the way. Thank God they cut that. So The Rock comes in there. He gives Steve Austin the stunner, and, that complements that awesome promo package, the My Way, Limp Bizkit stuff. And could you imagine what it's going to be like at WrestleMania? My God. And The Rock, he goes up the aisleway. He looks at Stone Cold, who is in a puddle of beer. And The Rock, he has the towel around his shoulder. He does the people's eyebrow. And then they do another promo commercial for WrestleMania 17. That's the end of WrestleMania. That's the end of the simulcast Raw, the go-home WrestleMania of Monday Night Raw of WrestleMania 17. This is a spectacular episode of Raw. My grade is an A+. A+. Everything about this Raw, well, actually, the Deborah stuff is bad. She is terrible. She literally is only there because she's sleeping with Steve Austin. She slept her way to the top. She has big titties. She has big puppies. That's why she's showcased. But other than that stuff, this is awesome. This is one of the greatest episodes of Monday Night Raw in its history. And it's the greatest go-home episode of Raw, period. The road to WrestleMania 17 culminates. The road to WrestleMania 17 is complete. You have the Royal Rumble, an amazing Royal Rumble pay-per-view. You have the build-up, the rivalry with Steve Austin and Triple H, all culminating. You have all that stuff in the No Way Out. Amazing stuff from No Way Out. Then you get the build-up to WrestleMania 17. The end of the Monday Night Wars. The end of an era. It's the end of the Attitude Era. The end of the Monday Night Wars. This is one of the greatest road to WrestleManias, period. This Raw is amazing. A top 10 episode of Monday Night Raw. A+. No doubt about it. WrestleMania 17. I've reviewed that show a 500 billion times. So I'm not going to review WrestleMania 17, actually. I will say why I think it's not the absolute greatest WrestleMania and not the absolute greatest show of all time. It is one of the biggest shows of all time. WrestleMania 17 is the celebration. It's the celebration of the end of the Monday Night Wars. You know, WrestleMania 17, you know, that is where the troops, they go home, they lick their wounds, and they party and they celebrate after a big war. That is what WrestleMania 17 really is. It's a celebration. That's how I'm going to put it. WrestleMania 17 in this Raw is a celebration of the end of the Monday Night Wars. It's an end of an era. And it's spectacular. The importance, the magnitude is felt on this Raw. Unlike, it wasn't felt like it was on Nitro. The end of the Monday Night Wars was not felt on Nitro in all seriousness, except Ric Flair versus Sting and except the Shane McMahon promo. But this Raw does feel like it's the end. Anyways, I'll catch you next time. This gets an A+. 2001 year in review shall continue with WWF Backlash. There is no more WCW, so I'll see you next time. Goodbye.